Well, the men's semifinals are set. Djokovic survives Sinner. Nadal survives Fritz. Norrie survives Goffin. And Nick Kyrgios gets through in 3. Yes, folks, it's 2022, and there are spooky things happening this year at Wimbledon. Let's get into these matchups, talk about the next gen, talk about the GOATs getting through again on this episode of The Slice. Welcome to the show, presented by PointsBet Canada. Well, folks, this wacky Wimbledon, as I call it, chaotic is the word I've been using throughout the tournament, continues. The two 35, 36-year-old GOATs seem to be physically outlasting next-gen players who are in their early 20s, as they both had resurgences in form and physical fitness during their matches to get through. It was quite astounding, and we've seen it year after year after year now that these older guys are not dropping down to the level of these younger guys who are coming up, and it is quite insane to see. Again, today, Nadal coming through Fritz in a super tight battle. That was different than yesterday's Sinner versus Djokovic, which I'm happy to see, because today you really didn't feel like you knew who was going to win until the last few points, basically when Nadal went up 5-6-0 in the final set tiebreaker. But it was a battle all the way through, and we're going to get into the details and some of the stats around that. But thank you guys for being here. This Slice is presented by PointsBet Canada during Wimbledon. And if you want to get in on the action from Ontario, join them if you are a tennis bettor and check out the odds. If you want to see the odds for the final here, we got some interesting odds. Novak Djokovic versus Cam Norrie. Djokovic 1.07 to win that match. Cam Norrie 8.5. So there's reasons for that, and we'll talk about them. And then Nick Kyrgios is actually the betting odds favorite to win for PointsBet Canada over Nadal. 1.77 for Kyrgios and 2.08 for Nadal. Is that shocking to you? Is that scandalous? Let me know. But shout out to them for supporting the show. So yeah, Nadal versus Fritz. Before I get into that, I don't want to sound like a beaten drum. I don't want to sound like I'm being too harsh on the next generation. But no matter how hard of a diehard Djokovic or Nadal fan you have to wonder what is going on. You have to wonder when the next generation is going to step up. Let's be an example. Taylor Fritz up 2-1 today against Rafa Nadal, one of the all-time greats, who's 35, who has a clear injury in his abdominal, who can barely move, who can't really serve, loses still in 5 sets. When are these guys going to push through and get through to a final and win? I know we had Medvedev last year. That was amazing. That's like the one outlier where I feel like he actually just went up straight against Djokovic and beat him. We had Dominic Thiem the year before, in a draw that had more stars than this one does, I guess. But it's very few and far between. You can look at how amazing the GOATs are. That's obviously the main reason for this. But when are the next gen guys going to really make a go at it? We have to wait and see. I feel like the U.S. Open is their obvious ground where they make it happen. But it is just crazy how year after year after year, the GOATs, these guys find a way to be better than the best players of the next generation. It's very strange, and I'm not sure we have seen this level of difference in the last 15 years while these GOATs have been playing. It seems like the guys who are right below them used to be always able to step up and beat them, like Tsonga, Berdych, Raonic, Nishikori, Cilic. The guys who are right there, if the GOATs slipped, if they weren't playing their best, they would lose. But it doesn't feel like that anymore. That's my take on what's going on right now. But again, half the top 10 aren't here at this Wimbledon, so it's basically we should be calling it the Wimbledon ATP 500 in a way. So that's probably one of the main reasons these quarterfinalists and semifinalists aren't as strong as they normally would be at slams. All that to say, what do you think about that? That's just my take on what's been going on so far, especially at this tournament. Nadal versus Fritz, though, very epic battle. Like I said, the type that we want. Yesterday, Sinner losing to Djokovic. It felt like once Djokovic got back in that match, Djokovic was going to win the whole time, and Sinner never had a chance to win the third set that he needed to win. I previewed that. I broke down that match, all the stats in my other video. Check it out from earlier today here on The Slice. Nadal, though, injury issues at the beginning. Again, I will never know how to read Nadal's injury issues. It did look like he was about to pull out early in the match, and then he didn't. And then all of a sudden when he's winning, now the injuries don't seem to be there. And then at the end of the match, He's still not serving well. You can tell that it's a real injury, but I just don't know how you can play with that much discomfort that you show and still continue on in the match and win. It's just, I've never seen anyone do it like that. We saw Djokovic. The haunting for Fritz now is he's lost twice to two of the GOATs who have had abdominal injuries and still beat him in 5 sets. So that's tough to take if you're Taylor Fritz. And I swear these young guys are going to have like scar tissue from these losses. From some of these losses to Nadal and Djokovic, it's just they're going to take a long time to get over. Some may argue that Tsitsipas is still not over losing to Djokovic in the French Open final last year. So Nadal fights through the pain, fights through the injuries. And this match was interesting to me because I feel like the levels really ebbed and flowed for both guys. It was the classic duel of like neither guy was playing super amazing at the same time. It felt like the level was pretty good at sometimes, obviously. It wasn't like out of this world amazing battle forever. But those middle sets, the ones that Nadal won 7-5, 7-5, he really got into the Fritz service. Other than that, the Fritz service games were pretty good. Like in the sets that Taylor Fritz won, he, he got broken actually twice in the first set. He only got broken once in the first set. In the third set, he didn't get broken at all, and he won 92% of his first serves, so very dominant there. But then in the sets where Nadal was able to get in on it, he was able to handle the serve a lot better. Taylor Fritz only won 50% of his first serves in the second set, which he lost, and in the fourth set, which he lost, he won about just under 70%, which is okay on grass. But basically, Nadal, it ebbed and flowed. Like I said, his return, Taylor Fritz's serve effectiveness, and that was kind of the story of this match for me. It was just the ebbs and flows. One of the things that did that a lot was Nadal's forehand during the match. Nadal made a lot more errors than you kind of typically see from him, I feel like. But by the time in that fifth set, when it came down to it, battled back, he got to the tiebreaker. A couple of those forehand vintage up the line Nadal forehands came through for him. He was able to really just push through those shots, and they penetrated, and they really caught Taylor Fritz almost off guard, it seemed like, which Nadal's forehand up the line, when it's really going well, does. It catches you off guard, and it's the can opener. And that really started to show itself at the end of the match. And that's just, again, how these GOATs keep doing it is they play their best tennis when it matters most in the biggest moments. And they are like the only guys on tour right now, it seems like, who can do that. So just hats off to Nadal for winning another big physical, emotional battle. And we'll hope he's going to be ready to go versus Nick Kyrgios. Is the tennis world ready to see Nick Kyrgios versus Rafa Nadal in a Wimbledon semifinal? Kyrgios takes out Guerin today, and he said, he didn't really think he'd be in a semifinal of a slam. He thought that kind of ship had sailed, as he said, and it's pretty amazing as well. But the chaotic Wimbledon of 2022 is the time to take advantage, Nicky, and you've done it. So he's into the semifinals, beating Guerin in 3 pretty tough sets today. But I have no clue what's going to happen. Nadal he didn't sound too optimistic about even showing up with his rib or his abdominal at the end. And Nick's playing great now. His serve is amazing. Maybe that's why PointsBet Canada's got him as the betting favorite. But I really don't have that much to say about this match. As Nick said, in 2019 when they played, Nadal beat him, but Nick was like partying the night before till 4 a.m. So a focused, big serving, aggressive, wanting to win Nick Kyrgios, that's going to be dangerous for Nadal. I think that's pretty obvious to say. If Nick serves like a really good day like he did against Tsitsipas, it's going to be hard for Nadal to break him, but he will find ways, and we'll see how Nick's temperament is on the day and how much he's able to focus and how physically ready Nadal is. So that one is just a huge question mark to me. What's less of a question mark to me is Djokovic versus Norrie. What do you guys think? To me, the game style for Norrie, he just doesn't seem to have a big enough weapons to me to beat Djokovic on this surface. He's going to have to play like a perfect match. He's going to have to play all of the sides of his games that do damage to opponents, his lefty forehand off the court, his ability to play on the front foot when he can, his IQ of tennis, his general just like solid game. He's going to have to just really lock in and play a super physical match. Maybe he's ready for it. I just don't have that much belief in our friend of the show, Cam Norrie, but he's gotten to where he's gotten because he's really made everything in his game super tight. So we'll see if he can catch Djokovic on a bad day, if he can just play those big points, big when he needs to. But even if he gets up 2 sets to love, do you have confidence that he's going to win that match? It's just hard when you're playing a cat like Djokovic, who is still looking in his prime, physically ready to do anything he needs. But it has been a tricky Wimbledon. He's lost 4 sets on the way to the semifinals already, which is a lot more than some other years. And he's looking more vulnerable than he has in other years, I think. So Cam Norrie's got a chance, but I think in general, he's got less chance than Sinner did. And I think Kyrgios almost has, I mean, if Nadal's healthy, I think Kyrgios has less chance than Fritz did. But in a way, he has maybe more chance because he can come to the net, which really hurt Fritz today, his inability to come to the net and handle pretty basic volleys. And Kyrgios is like a world-class volleyer. So it's going to be interesting, people. That's kind of the lay of the land. That's how I see it. I'm picking Djokovic to come through, and I'm picking Nadal to come through if he's healthy. If he's got that injury like he did today, I don't think he's going to be breaking Kyrgios. And I think Kyrgios could take it in 3 sets if Nadal's not ready to move out there. So that's my breakdown of the men's semifinal. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about my ponderances about the general tour in general? Let me know. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking this video and getting around all the links below. We will see you guys later. Nick?